At times, I just don't think people realize how crazy this has become and how dangerous this has become.
On MSNBC, Joe Scarborough was talking about Donald Trump's latest attacks on immigrants.
They don't commit crimes like us. No. They make our criminals look like babies. These are stone-cold killers. They'll walk into your kitchen, they'll cut your throat.
Conservative Charlie Sykes.
He has gone into a very, very dark place.
These are killers. These are people at the highest level of killing that cut your throat, and they won't even think about it the next morning. A lot of gang members, they take their gangs off the street. Like in Caracas, Venezuela, the criminals have all been brought to the United States.
All the criminals in Caracas, Venezuela have been brought to the United States, and they are preparing to break into our kitchens and cut our throats. Even Donald Trump supporters in Venezuela call his claims nonsense. But the bloodthirsty lies from Donald Trump keep intensifying. Most Americans and most U.S. media just seem to accept it, because that's Donald Trump. Again, Joe Scarborough.
But could you imagine us following a campaign in the UK, in France, in any major industrialized country where somebody who is tied is running around talking about the eating of dogs and cats, talking about people coming to your houses and slitting your throats?
And it gets even worse, because Donald Trump is not just ramping up the horrific rhetoric about immigrants, he's also taking his attacks against Kamala Harris to a new place.
She let our American sons and daughters be raped and murdered at the hands of vicious monsters. She let American communities be conquered. They're conquering your communities. We have to get them the hell out of our country because they're ruining the fabric of our country.
Here are some facts. According to the FBI, overall violent crime in the United States during the Biden-Harris administration has dropped to the lowest level in 50 years. The murder rate, which dropped 11% over the last year, has not been this low since the early 1970s. The rate of rape and sexual assault has not been this low since then. And by the way, illegal immigration is now lower than it was at the end of the Trump administration. And undocumented migrant communities have a lower violent crime rate than regular communities. Still, this past winter, Senate conservatives produced a border security bill. It would have added border agents and asylum judges, ended the practice of catch and release, funded new security systems, and paid for more flights repatriating undocumented migrants. The Biden administration and key Senate Democrats agreed to support the conservative bill. But President Trump then told Senate conservatives to kill their own measure because they didn't want the Biden-Harris administration to have a legislative victory or policy success during an election year. Kamala Harris keeps reminding audiences of Donald Trump's role in stopping the legislation, and now Donald Trump is accusing Harris of lying.
She said, I'm the one that talked him out. I wish I had that ability, that I was the one that said, don't vote for it.
He even lobbied against the bill publicly.
I think they're making a terrible mistake if they vote for the bill. This is a terrible bill for our country.
Trump then took credit for the bill's demise and encouraged Republicans to point to him for any flack.
I notice a lot of the senators are trying to say respectfully they're blaming it on me. I said, that's okay, please blame it on me, please. Because they were getting ready to pass a very bad bill. And I'll tell you what, a bad bill is, I'd rather have no bill than a bad bill.
Kamala Harris is blasting Trump over immigration, and she's even arguing that during Trump's administration, he never bothered to even try and address the key underlying problems.
In the 4 years that Donald Trump was president, he did nothing to fix our broken immigration system. He did not solve the shortage of immigration judges. He did not solve the shortage of border agents. He did not create lawful pathways into our nation. He separated families. He ripped toddlers out of their mothers' arms, put children in cages, and tried to end protections for dreamers. He made the challenges at the border worse. And he is still fanning the flames of fear and division. And let me be clear, that is not the work of a leader. That is not the work of a leader. And that is, in fact, I think we all believe, an abdication of leadership.
But it's not just an abdication of leadership. Donald Trump is literally stoking the flames of hatred by painting migrants as ruthless, bloodthirsty barbarians. He is actively portraying undocumented immigrants as subhuman. And it's all just to help Donald Trump's political strategy. Again, here's conservative Charlie Sykes.
Donald Trump has made a calculation that his base likes the dark fear, that they like carnage. He is calculating that he can make Americans afraid of migrants because that's what he thinks about the American people. And, we'll find out relatively shortly whether he's right about this. But right now, Donald Trump, I think, is melting down in front of our eyes. And the kind of rhetoric that he's using does not strike me as aimed at swing voters, if there are any swing voters. It does not strike me as reaching out to moderate Republicans who might have doubts about him.
The effort to reach out to moderates and swing voters over the weekend came from Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance. He insisted that Donald Trump's administration had a great record on improving health care, even though Trump repeatedly tried to kill the Affordable Care Act. Vance also spewed a remarkable, specific, bold-faced lie.
Donald Trump's record on health care was so good that the main thing Kamala Harris talks about is actually an achievement of Donald Trump's, which is getting insulin down to $35 a vial. Thank Donald Trump for that. Don't let Kamala Harris lie and take credit for it.
Well, to do as J.D. Vance wants, you would have to suspend reality and ignore all fact checkers, including the Washington Post. Quote, Trump did establish a voluntary time-limited model for a $35 monthly cap on insulin that was available only to some seniors enrolled in certain insurance plans. A law is what Biden achieved over the opposition of the pharmaceutical industry. The 2022 Inflation Reduction Act, passed with a tie-breaking vote in the Senate by Harris, permanently required all Part D plans to charge no more than $35 per month for all insulin products. It also limited cost sharing for insulin covered under Part B, Medicare medical insurance, to $35 per month. Trump announced a small pilot program for a group of seniors with an expiration date. Biden passed a law that benefited every senior. There's no comparison. But clearly the Trump-Vance campaign is betting that a large number of voters don't read or look at facts or consider data. Whether it's about healthcare or crime or immigration, Donald Trump's campaign is creating their own make-believe world and filling it with monsters that only Donald Trump can defeat. Trump is combining fear tactics and constant lies, but polls show most Americans are seeing through it all. The Kamala Harris lead over Donald Trump is growing. She is ahead in states he was widely expected to win, including North Carolina, and she's now within a few points in Trump's strongholds, including Florida and Texas. Her crowds keep building, and the joyful contrast with Trump is increasingly clear.
Are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you, and God bless the United States.
A lot can change down the stretch in any political campaign, but Donald Trump's increasingly dark rhetoric is not helping him. It's only making Trump seem more desperate and pathetic. By the way, in Springfield, Ohio, where the police and Republican mayors say the Haitian immigrants are not eating cats and dogs, despite Donald Trump's claims, parents of school-aged children say the bomb threats Trump inspired are scary and exhausting.
So it was a very terrifying feeling, but I was also enraged because I know that a lot of it is rooted in lies against the community that has shown me a lot of love.
All this activity with the bombing threats and stuff, I mean, it has a little bit of an impact on the kids. They're kind of scared.
What's going on right now is really chaotic and hectic. Everybody has the right to live in peace, and this is just disrupting our peace. And these people are nice people. They're good people.
check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Real Ditz, who wrote, "If Trump wasn't born rich, he wouldn't even be able to hold a job as a Walmart greeter." I hear you. I look forward to reading your comments about Donald Trump's bloodthirsty immigration lies coming back to hurt him. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.